to sit wherever's comfortable to you, Sukhasana or perhaps Hero's Pose, Vajrasana. However you're feeling called to hold some space for your breath this morning, expanding diaphragm, noticing where your breath is going, allowing it to flow. And I'd like to introduce some simple and gentle bandha contraction connected to the breath. So as we inhale, you can release all bandhas, allowing that space to fill, drawing the air in. And then contract Mula Uddiyana Bandha, push the diaphragm up, pressing the air out. And then relax the bandhas, allowing the air back in. So once again, contracting the bandhas to push the air out and releasing the bandhas to allow the air back in. Find your own pace, find your own rhythm here. And in this space, we can begin just to say to ourselves, say to yourself the mantra, this whole Ho'oponopono, which begins with I'm sorry. You don't need to focus on what you're sorry for. Just breathing in this space of I'm sorry. I'm sorry to my higher self. I'm sorry to my heart. However it is that you want to connect with this feeling of I'm sorry with yourself. Deep inside, you know what you're sorry for. It doesn't need to be a part of this practice here now. Simply breathing. And perhaps you can feel some sensations in the base of the spine, perhaps corresponding to the areas of the base root chakra, Muladhara, and the sacral chakra Svadhisthana. Personally, for me, this is where I resonate with this feeling of I'm sorry. Perhaps it's even to my ancestors that this goes out. And then just gently switching the intention, please forgive me. This feels like the ultimate in humility. And for me, resonates with my Manipura chakra here in the solar plexus. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Keep the breath going as you focus on this feeling, pleading with your higher self to please forgive me. Using the bandhas to press the air out, releasing them to allow the air in. Slow and gentle breathing. Please forgive me. Beautiful. Now continue with the Ho'oponopono. Please forgive me. I love you. Keep breathing. Hold this space of deep, deep love for yourself. Perhaps it begins to resonate here in the Anahata. This heart chakra. Just allowing the love to be for ourselves, our higher self. Returning to the bandhas to press the air out, releasing them to allow the air in. I love you. Beautiful. And finally, thank you. Breathing in and out. This thanks for yourself so often, so rarely do we take a moment to give thanks to ourselves, to our higher self, for allowing us to do everything we've done. Just thank you. Notice where that resonates. For me, it's up around the crown, the 7th chakra, Sasrara, Padma. Thank you. Allowing yourself to be immersed in gratitude for yourself, to yourself, of yourself. Just a few more breaths here. Using those bandhas to press the air out. Releasing them to come back in. Beautiful. From here, wherever you are, we'll just come forward, walking your hands on the mat into a child's pose. Begin to stretch out the back, extending space between the vertebrae. A little bit of creative movement here, from side to side, warming up spaces between. Perhaps up on your fingertips here, a little bit deeper stretch in the shoulders. Hips pressing back and down. Opening these spaces, the axial extension of the spine. Within this practice, you can find your own embodied way of exploring these postures, recognizing how they feel in your body. Coming back to the breath as often as possible, coming back to this capacity we have, using our bandhas to press the air out, allowing it to come back in with the release of the bandhas. And then gently take your hands a little bit further back in, press up so that your hips stack above your knees, your hands and wrists planted into the mat directly below the shoulders, or tabletop position here. And from this position, return to the breath. So sometimes in this position, it's a little bit easier to feel the way the bandhas press the air out and the release of them allows it back in. And once again, begin to play with a little bit of movement. Perhaps as you press the bandhas out, you can arch your back into a cat posture and feel the way that the bandhas engage, pressing the air out, arcing the spine, then gently releasing the bandhas and allowing the air to come back in, allowing the spine to uncurl, pointing the tailbone towards the sky. Nice gentle arch, opening up space. Engage the bandhas, pressing in and finding a different expression. Perhaps there's some rotation, movement. Release the bandhas. Allow the air to come back in. Allow the chest to open, filling with air. Continue at your own pace here with your breath, your bandhas, and your movement. Taking any movements you need to begin to feel warmer in that spine. On your next inhale, begin to lift the right arm up into the air, opening, and squeeze the bandhas, press the air out, draw it down through, thread the needle, come down for a slight twist here. Head is gently relaxing, resting on the ground, space between the neck and the shoulder. Really just continuing to breathe here, noticing what's alive in your body. Beautiful. One last exhale. Press it out. Gently release those bandhas and allow the expanding space to draw the air back in as the arm comes all the way back up, opening. Little counter twist here and exhale as it comes back down to the mat. Take a breath here to reset. Notice the way your body feels. Perhaps you can feel the difference between one side and the other here. Exhale. And on your next inhale, this time lift the left arm up into the air, opening. Right arm firmly planted in the ground. And on your exhale, bring it through underneath the arm, the shoulder, threading the needle, and towards the ground, gently resting the head on the ground. Little to no weight. Perhaps there's some weight on your shoulder. Perhaps you're pressing through the right hand, giving yourself some space, breathing here, exploring the bandhas. One more exhale. On your next inhale, release those bandhas. Allow the creation of space to draw the air in all the way up, opening. And exhale, bringing it back to the mat. Once again, finding a reset here in this position, in this tabletop. Exploring with your hips and your breath. Noticing if there's any spaces in the spine that need a little bit more support. Beautiful. Now take one hand's length distance, and walk your hands forward a little bit just to get the right spacing. Inhale, arch the back and tuck the toes here. Exhale, press up and back and draw your hips back towards a downward facing dog. Toes are on the ground, heels are pressing towards the ground. Doesn't necessarily need to come to the ground. Find space between your shoulders and your neck. Straight line of force from the firmly connected hands, all 5 fingers on each hand, pressing down into the mat. Same with all 10 toes. 2 lines of force drawing up through the coccyx and sacrum. Breathing here, noticing, finding length in the spine. From this position, returning to the bandhas and the way that the bandhas are pressing the air out and releasing to allow the air back in. And notice if this contraction and release of the bandhas allows you to find something new, something unexpected, a way of exploring this asana that you have yet to do. One last exhale here, pressing all the air. Inhale, lift the heels and look forward. Exhale, bend the knees and walk yourself gently forward to a forward fold. Take a few breaths here. One last exhale. Your next inhale, you come up to a halfway lift, hands come to shins, straight back. Exhale, folding back down.
And inhale. Gently begin with the bent knees to draw yourself up. Take as many breaths as you need and use the inhale. Feel that chest open. Pausing on the exhale as you engage all of your bandhas. Finding yourself in Samastiti. Mountain pose. Feet are hips width distance apart. Hands fixed forward and open, shoulders back and down, lengthen the spine. And from this position, explore the bandhas, explore your breath. What does it mean to be fully engaged? How can we support ourselves as the breath comes in and release? Beautiful. So now we're going to explore an asana for a length of time. And it may feel like a long amount of time for you in this asana. Then just do a few asanas a day and really focus on each one. So I recommend if you have a block, be really useful. It's just Parastasana here. So it's hand to foot. And you're going to take your block and place it just in front of your feet here. Feels good. We'll inhale and lift the arms up. Exhale, gently swan dive with flat back forward into a forward fold. Now, again, there's lots of ways that you can take this so that it's comfortable for you. And the most important thing is that if you ever feel like this becomes a struggle, simply pause, come back to standing, take a moment, take a breath, and then you can come back in. And often when you take that pause, the coming back in allows you to find new nuances within the pose. So as you're in this pose, I encourage you to focus on your breath, the bandhas, releasing the bandhas, inhale, finding that space in the chest, even as you're hanging, creating big open diaphragm, and then the bandhas engage, press that out. Each inhale. And here we can focus also on an energetic flow that we're setting up, really powerful asana that allows the energy of the earth to come in through the feet, rising up through the legs, the hips, and then down the back, through the shoulders and the arms, back into the hands and back into the earth. It creates a complete circuit. It's a beautiful way to balance and recharge the Muladhara chakra, this first chakra related to the earth, the red, safety, home, abundance. And as you're in this space, I encourage you to also meditate on the first phrase in the Ho'oponopono, I'm sorry. So in this Parastasana, again, coming out whenever it feels like it serves you. But we're going to be here for a little while, focusing on this energetic flow, the way that our bandhas, Mula and Uddiyana Bandha, can press the air out. And similarly, as they press the air out, you can notice that you can actually be pumping the energy itself. So the air, as well as the prana, is pumped by this contraction and release of the Uddiyana and the Mula Bandha to support us in this space of I'm sorry to myself. Such an important space of an apology, of a recognition of past wrongs. I'm sorry. You may have done this pose thousands of times before. Find a new way to engage in it today. Notice if you're getting tense from holding the position for too long, and check in if it might be best serving you to come out of the asana briefly, come back to mountain pose and pause there before you come back in. Have a few more breaths here. So really feeling into it. Engaging the bandhas for the exhale, releasing for the inhale, finding more length, finding more relaxation in the head, bending the knees. Yeah, that's a great way to release some of that tension. However you are feeling like this pose is finding itself, is expressing itself through you today. Feeling that energetic flow, this earth energy, the telluric energy coming up through the soles of your feet into the legs and flowing down the spine, the shoulders, the arms, into the earth. I'm sorry. Few more breaths. One last exhale together. Engage the bandhas, squeeze all the air out. Then gently, slightly bent knees, protect the spine and the knees. Gently bring yourself up with the inhale, back to mountain pose. Take a moment here just to reflect. If you'd like to extend the arms up above, overhead, connected to the breath in the inhale, and allowing them to come perhaps through heart center, simply back to Samasthiti. Just take a moment here and notice the effects of this asana, the effects of this mantra, I'm sorry, that you're repeating to yourself, the ways in which the bandhas have engaged and helped you flow this energy. Perhaps the color red resonates right now. Perhaps you can feel a slight tingling corresponding to this activation and balancing of the Muladhara chakra. The space just below the perineum, connection to the earth, home, safety. Beautiful. Moving on to the next phrase in the mantra, please forgive me. We'll do an asana designed to bring focus to our Manipura chakra. What we'll do here is a warrior, just a warrior one. Rather than the heel down in the back, we're going to do it as a lunge with the heel pointed up. Support a little bit more of the movement in the hips and the pelvis. Really opening here. So bring your left foot to the front of the mat and draw the right foot back in line with the hips. And as far back as feels comfortable for you. Once again, we're going to hold this pose for a while. It doesn't need to be a full expression, because you can find space within any expression. What is important is that we're safe, so that the knee is stacking over the ankle and pressing the back heel down towards the ground by straightening that right knee. Finding your space here gently and slowly, perhaps beginning with the hands on the hips and drawing the right hip, back hip forward so that the hips remain aligned, not opening at all, really facing forward here. And finding your breath here, finding again this activation of the bandhas in this pose, the release of them on the inhale, pressing the air out with the bandhas for the exhale. Inhale, release. And moving on to this mantra of please forgive me. Finding the humility to ask for forgiveness of your higher self. Please forgive me. Pressing your feet together, engagement here. It's all about engagement. If you'd like, on your next inhale, you can begin to draw your arms up into the air and perhaps even find a little bit of an arch, continuing to open up that Manipura chakra, the space in the front of our bodies, asking forgiveness from ourselves. I am one of the hardest people to forgive for me. Maybe that way for you too. So please forgive me. Releasing the bandhas to inhale. Engaging those bandhas and pressing it out and feeling the way that your arms are extended up in the air now. You can feel this sky energy coming down in through the fingertips, down through the arms, and meeting the earth energy coming up through the feet and the legs, strong engaged legs, and through the pelvis and up into the solar plexus, this Manipura chakra, where the earth and the sky are meeting in this pose. Please forgive me. Breathing deeply, engaging. Remember, just coming out of this, if it ever gets to be too much of a struggle, you can explore different positions with your arms. Or you can keep them right on your hips. Whatever's feeling alive for you, give yourself permission to explore creatively. So often we move through these poses so quickly that we don't get a chance to really feel into them and notice how they land in our body. Notice how they affect our energy. Notice the ways in which we can make use of them, curate our energy, allow it to flow, to really be creative with our energetic and physical bodies. Coming back to the bandhas, engaging to press out, releasing to come in. Just a few more breaths here. Notice if there's muscles getting tired. Are there other muscles that you can engage to give those muscles a rest? Perhaps the glute's tired, and if you engage more with your hamstring, will that allow you to have some release on the glute? One last exhale here, pressing the air all the way out. Releasing the bandha, inhale, coming up, stepping that foot forward, coming to the front of the mat, and just taking a moment here, pause and reflect. If you feel like you need to make any movements to sort of reset your body, feel free to, but I also encourage you to just be still and notice the effect of this posture in your body, in your mind, solar plexus. What does it feel like to come before yourself with such humility? Please forgive me. Beautiful. And now we'll make our way to same posture on the opposite side. So this time the right foot will be forward, the left foot will be back. Bring your right foot to the front of the mat, plant it firmly. Left foot comes back, hips width distance apart. Drawing this left hip forward this time so that it's facing forward. Again, starting with your hands on your hips, just getting yourself sorted and settled. Right knee directly over right ankle, support. Left knee pressing back to find a little bit more space, bringing that heel closer to the earth. Coming back to the bandhas, engaging to press out, releasing to allow the air in. Perhaps you'd like to lift the arms on your next inhale. finding space in the front body, channeling again the energy of the earth up through the feet, into the legs, up through the pelvis, into the solar plexus, while the energy of the sky comes down through the fingertips, through wide and supported shoulders, relaxed neck, down the spine, to meet this earth energy at our very core here, this Manipura chakra, inner fire, yellow. Use the bandhas to find new spaces, new ways of engaging. Subtle differences in your body that can lead to great expansion. Again, please forgive me, the humility coming before myself, my ego, allowing that to dissolve in this connection of earth and sky energy right at this center, Manipura. As always, you're free to come out of this posture whenever you need, finding space and breath, reflection, rest. And when you're ready, you can come right back into it, noticing what's different, noticing what you have access to because you allowed yourself to rest. You may not have otherwise. One last exhale together here. Please forgive me. Inhale, gently press yourself up. Draw that back foot forward again. Find yourself at the front of the mat. You can take some small movements to release any tension. That feels good. And also then come back to stillness, reflection, feeling a balance in this solar plexus, Manipura center. Please forgive me. Perhaps with eyes closed, the color yellow comes to the forefront. Perhaps it's simply a sensation of empowerment, recognition of yourself, your true self, beyond the ego. The sensation of coming to yourself in humility. Beautiful. So now here from the front of our mats, we'll come down by inhaling the arms up and exhaling, engaging those bandhas all the way down into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, hands come to the mat. Gently walk your feet backwards into a plank position. Inhale here. And we'll exhale, knees, chest and chin. Inhale, here in a baby cobra, little to no weight in the hands. And this is the position the asana we'll be exploring, Bhujangasana or cobra. So this is a perfectly valid way of exploring Bhujangasana, this baby cobra, Bhujangasanita. Let's say in Spanish, Sanskrit. And this is all about love for yourself. So really feel like your heart is shining. If it feels good to Find a little bit more space. You can do that. Keep your navel engaged here. Don't lift the navel up off the mat, because what that does is it puts pressure on the lumbar spine. What we want to do is find extension and length in the spine here, shining the heart forward and engaging. So again, we're going to return to our breath, releasing all bandhas as we inhale, making space in the entire abdomen, thoracic cavity, and then engaging those bandhas, pressing the air out. Maybe finding a little bit more lift with that. And releasing and inhale into the space you create. Engaging and pressing it out and finding more length. Just like all the other asanas here, only stay in the position as long as it's serving you. Notice when your effort overwhelms your awareness. And stop, back off, come to a rest with your head to one side or the other. And then when you're ready, you can come right back. Perhaps you prefer a Sphinx pose here with your elbows on the ground. Or perhaps you'd like to move into a full cobra. Again, the important part is that the navel remains firmly rooted to the ground in order to protect that lower spine. And here, just focusing on love, focusing on I love me. So much self-love, so much love for yourself. And you can feel this, the ground energy comes up through the fronts of the legs, the pelvis, even the abdomen as it's connected firmly to the ground, drawing it up into the heart center as it shines forward. Similarly, the crown of the head takes this sky energy and passes it down through the neck, open shoulders drawn back, allowing that energy to pass through freely into the heart. This Anahata chakra. I love you. Say it to yourself. Release the bandhas and allow the air in. Engage the bandhas and press the air out. Again, you may have done this asana hundreds of thousands of times. Allow today to be a chance to explore a new expression, a new way of being in this asana, a new way of loving yourself. The important part here is that you're supporting your lower back and that your heart is shining. So wherever it feels good for you to be, in order for this to be taking place. Beautiful. Maybe explore a little side to side movement, slithering of this cobra, a little dance. Maybe stillness is where you're at. Be here for a few more breaths. So if you've taken a break, you can come back here and just join us for the last few breaths. Beautiful. One last inhale, release the bandhas and allow all the air in. Shining the heart, big chest. Then exhale, engage the bandhas, press that air out and allow yourself to come down to the mat. And rest here. You can make a pillow for your forehead with your face straight down towards the ground, or you can move to one side or the other, whatever feels good. But just lay here for a moment. And if there's any small movements you want to do, notice those movements before you make them. What are you feeling called to do? Why are you feeling called to make these sort of release movements, which often happen just without even thinking? Take a moment in stillness just in
Be aware of the effects of this pose. Feeling the open heart, feeling this unconditional love for yourself. Perhaps the color green resonates. This feeling of unbounded and unconditional love, the unstruck. One last exhale. And on the next inhale, gently begin to place your hands on the mat, press yourself up and back into tabletop. Excuse me. You know you're getting into an asana well when you start burping. Creating all kinds of space. So from the tabletop, we're going to move into a crown chakra activation here. And there's a variety of asana that can give you the same benefits in the activation of the crown chakra. According to how you're feeling today, what's feeling accessible and useful for you in your practice. Again, we'll be maintaining this posture for a little while. So notice, and if at any point you want to switch between one of these asana and another, that's just fine. Really, it's all about bringing intention in this fourth and final asana to the crown chakra, and it's gratitude that we embody here. So whether that's coming into a rabbit pose, so bringing your head down towards the ground from this position, placing it between the hands like this, and then drawing the hips upward. Keep the hands firmly planted to the ground here, just to make sure there's not too much weight on your head and neck. This is a perfect place to be, to really feel this inversion and this connection of the ground and the crown. And if you like, you can press yourself up into a dolphin pose. And so that requires you to walk your feet back a little bit, bringing the head down between the hands, pressing up into a dolphin, using your hands for support. Or if you'd like, we can move into the beginnings of Shirshasana, or the headstand. First step in that is to find the length of our elbows. Do that by grasping firmly your arms, each finger. That's the length of distance you want between your elbows. And opening out, folding the hands together, the pinkies unfolded to give yourself a little rest there. Finding a cradle for the head, coming into it, beginning to press up gently with the toes. Again, this is perfect if you want to stay right here. Keeping those shoulders engaged, little to no weight on the actual head. Feeling the energy of the earth refresh and cleanse the seventh energetic center, the Sahasrara Padma, correlated to our connection with the divine. In this case, our gratitude for ourselves. And if you'd like to gently, slowly walk your feet a little bit forward toward your elbows, just as much as feels comfortable, perhaps then they come up into a full Shirshasana. Wherever you are, come back to your breath. Use the bandhas, press the air out, finding length, gauge shoulders, little to no weight in the head. Release the bandhas, allow the air back in. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Always remember that you feel free to come out of the posture whenever you need to. Particularly in inversions, it's important to keep the head down on the mat if you do choose to come out. And prepare yourself to go back in. That's feeling good, whenever that feels good.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. The activation of the bandhas and inversions can be even more powerful because it helps reset all the internal organs into the spaces. Just a few more breaths, wherever you are, breathing into your gratitude, gratitude for yourself, gratitude to yourself for leading you here, being here today, being wherever you are in your path, without any judgment, simple gratitude. Pressing into the shoulders, creating space, beautiful. Using the bandhas. Beautiful. One last inhale, release, open the bandhas. Exhale, engage the bandhas and gently, slowly allow yourself to come back down. The child's pose, or if you're already in a hero's pose, wherever you are, just allow yourself to come back to the space of gratitude. Come back to your breath. Perhaps you can feel the activation, the crown of the head corresponding to the Sahasrara Padma, this connection with the divine. We have our ability to tap into gratitude. Beautiful. Wherever you are, begin to make your way towards a Shavasana, our final pose. And we'll do a little bit of pranayama from the Shavasana pose today. Really focusing on yourself, really focusing on the effects of the practice. Do whatever you need to feel comfortable moving into this final, most important pose of our practice. And as we move into the Shavasana, I encourage you to link into your breath once again. The bandhas, pressing the air out, engagement, releasing to just allow the air back in. And now we'll begin a 4-part breath. So we'll inhale, 2, 3, and pause with the inhale, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, and pause, 2. Just like that, inhale, 2, pause, exhale, and pause. Continue at your own pace, your own count, whatever's working for you. Equal parts inhale,
Pause. Exhale. Pause. Allow yourself to relax into this powerful pranayama. And I invite you to begin to bring into this pranayama the Ho'oponopono. So we'll begin with an engagement of the bandhas and an exhale as we say, I'm sorry. Pausing. Please forgive me. Inhale. I love you. Pausing. Thank you. Exhale. I'm sorry. Pause. Please forgive me. Inhale. I love you. Pause. Thank you. Exhale. I'm sorry. Pause. Please forgive me. Inhale. I love you. Pause. Thank you. Feel free to do this at your own pace. Exhale, sorry. Pause. Please forgive me. Inhale. I love you. Pause. Thank you. Exhale, I'm sorry. Pause. Please forgive me. Inhale. I love you. Pause. Thank you. Continuing at your own pace. Gentle. Soft breath. Connected. Feeling the effects of directing all of these beautiful sentiments to yourself. The power you're cultivating in your own self. Feel free to continue with this 4-part breath or box breath. Feel free to continue with the Ho'oponopono. Or if it's serving you right now, to allow yourself to slip into this space of Shavasana. Please do so.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Tune into the beating of your heart. Recognizing your unique and important contribution to the universe that you represent. Allowing this creative flow to be expressed in every breath, every movement, every word, every action, every thought. Gently begin to find some movement. Fingers and toes. Beautiful. Gently begin to roll over to one side. Finding a fetal position. Space from which we emerge into the world. Just taking a moment with yourself here, the space in between. Feeling into your own creative potential. Just noticing in what ways this practice may have impacted you, your body, your energy, your heart. And slowly, when you're ready, coming up to meet in a seated position. And back to your breath. We'll close our class with an Om. Inhale to exhale. Once more like that. And feeling the bandhas as you release them to inhale. Engage those bandhas and press it all out. Release the bandhas and inhale for an Om, and use your bandhas in this song. Inhale.
So grateful to you for showing up today, joining this practice. Hope that it may serve you in all your creative endeavors, because I do believe that creativity is saving the world. Thank you for embodying it. And thank you for your support for the Midwifery Project. It's really, really special to be able to share so many good things. Kula Collective will be matching your donations, so give generously. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I would love to hear if anybody would like to share where you're at, or